Hey guys, can you hear me, Trinity?
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you too. Daniel, you there?
Yep. Hello.
Jennifer, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I can hear both of you. All right. So, Daniel, you're not on video. I can't see your facial expressions when I ask questions. So that's great. Thank you. You're in the hammock. All right. Is that the hammock? Okay. I'm quite familiar with that. Usually your dad's in it, swinging back and forth, telling us how cool he is. Okay, thanks guys for joining in. I just got a message from Kevin that he's not going to be able to join us tonight, so it's just going to be the four of us, which is good, and we'll have Kevin next time, and hopefully Jeff next time too. Um, so a couple of housekeeping items. First of all, this call is you may have noticed last Sunday that we structured it to be exactly 30 minutes long, and that's how we're trying to do this one as well on Thursday nights, just to be mindful of everybody's time constraints and whatnot. Um, we'll get plenty done during that time period, I've noticed in the past. And one way to get a lot done especially with a larger group, but even with this group as well, is to use the chat box pretty frequently. So I'm going to bring that up now on my side, and the chat box will be basically for if we're in the middle of a conversation and you have a thought that you want to share, but it's not you don't want to break in at that moment. You just put it in the chat box, and we'll get back to it. Um, and if I'm asking a question, sometimes I'll ask you to put your answer in the chat box so that we can address each of you one at a time. And I'll give you an example. I'm asking you right now to rate your week, since this is week one of your challenge, and you're 2/3 of the way through it now. I'd like for you to rate your experience on a scale of 1 to 10. Put the answer in the chat box. One being it just not meeting my expectations, and 10 being I'm hitting it out of the park already. So give me your number, and I will set a ground rule that your number cannot be a 7, because a 7 is kind of like a non-answer. Yeah, it's okay. It's good sides, bad sides. We want a more definitive. It's been really great, or I've got things I need to talk about. So 7s are not acceptable. So Daniel, give us another number. You got a 6. Okay, you went down in order, and Jennifer a 6 as well. So you guys get to start. You're going to tell us, and you can share the mic together if you want to. But tell us what's going on, and tell us why you're posting a 6, which is not meeting your expectations.
So we're actually in different rooms, so we can't share a
Okay.
mic.
I mean, you can share the floor, I should say.
Share the floor.
The floor.
So I think it's more the how to get, because I'm very much who gets kind of a little wound up on the details. But like today, I decided to go with a slightly smaller breakfast, and it's my college day, campus day, and I completely forgot to take any food with me.
Oh, you forgot
So,
you made the breakfast and left it at home?
oh no, I made breakfast, but I didn't bring any snacks. So I'm
Okay, so
on campus from 8 a.m. to 2:15 p.m.
okay, so you
and I've
forgot,
had
and
no food.
you're normally planning to prepare a snack for that time period.
Yeah, so I have a quote unquote 15-minute lunch break
Yeah.
in between the two classes. And so, and I've always done this where I eat something, not big, but, and then I come home and eat. Fortunately, I already had food made that I could just warm up
Yeah.
um, for lunch, but made for a really long day. And I still feel like I'm not like some meals, some 4-point meals feel enormous. Other ones I'm like, well, that doesn't seem like it's the same. So I think the thinking in terms of points, and Wade had said that was one of the biggest issues he'd also had was, you know, kind of some of the nuts and bolts mechanics of it.
Okay. Do you,
So,
are those things sorting themselves out, or do you still have issues or questions?
I yeah, they're still in the getting sorted out phase where I'm figuring it out because like today's dinner seemed enormous. Um, you know, especially compared to some, you know, other meals that I put together. So, you know, I guess the volume compared to point,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm still trying to understand that a little bit too. 'Cause some things are just, you know, if we pick a couple of kind of calorie dense items, you end up with a much smaller volume.
right.
Uh, and so I think that's where my problem's coming from.
Okay,
I
so
don't, think, I don't want to couch it as a problem because I don't think it's a problem. It's just what I'm working on.
okay. Some people get maybe make a mistake weighing dry weight versus cooked weight stuff, or dry vol no, not weight, but dry volume versus cooked volume. And so for example, if you're making a vegetable and it cooks down a lot, you need to probably um, you know, do your measurements in the dry volume state, so that the greater volume state, because because you'll probably end up eating too much and getting too full otherwise. So some things like that you could kind of sort out, and if you have any specific questions, I can you can put them on the community and we can address them together. So you know,
Okay.
it's a learning experience, and we can work on that together. There's a lot more fiber in some of these things, and that can be filling as well. And
Mm-hmm.
you're on a 16 now, or did you go to 15?
16.
16?
Yeah,
Okay.
1-6.
Okay. So, so, you know, we'll if you can get through the weekend on that, and then we can take a look at it together and make a decision. Do we want to go to 15, or do we want to try to stay at 16? We can make that decision at that time. But
Okay.
e- every single time we've done this, we've had these same comments at the end of week one, where people are just, it's like they can't get their minds around how much food they're eating, and it seems counterproductive. And we've dialed a few things back, but generally, it's a process where your body sort of acclimates itself to to that style of nutrition, and it becomes more comfortable. How about how about the way you feel, or the way you have felt this week, in terms of being energetic or sluggish, or hungry, or too full? How would you sort that out, or how would you characterize that?
Let's see. Until today, I had to stay up late, and I still don't have an assignment for a different client done um, yet. And so I had a really short night, so I'm kind of tired, especially
Yeah,
after workout
yeah, yeah.
this morning. And then, but generally, no, I think it's been good. So, you know, as you know, I have GERD, and so that actually has kind of settled back down a little bit again. The processed foods really make that much worse.
Yeah, of course.
Uh, so, so that's better. Yeah, I think it. You know, I didn't really eat that bad before. Probably a little bit too much processed foods, but generally we weren't too bad. But yeah, no, I think you know I definitely feel better.
Okay, good, good. Daniel, what do you want to add?
The reason why I gave it a 6 was because I've been trying to find like the right amount of points for each meal because school and I eat at 10. That's really hard to figure out.
Okay. Have you read through the, there's some tips and tricks, lessons in there that help you to start to measure foods without measuring, without having the usual measurement tools. In other words, without having cups and volume measurements on containers. You just do it with your hands. Have you seen that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so use that pretty often. Once you get the sense for what 4 ounces of meat looks like, you can just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be measured out every single time. You don't have to be super precise. Now, Trinity, and we'll ask her to share this with us, but Trinity was asking about a particular, I guess that was a latte recipe, like a package. Or you can tell us about it now. Tell us about it now.
It's like a matcha powder that I mix it with water and then unsweetened almond milk. But I haven't rebought it because I ran out of it like right when we started this. So I
Yeah.
was wondering if I should go buy it again because
Yeah.
I really like matcha.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So I don't have any experience with that, but Jennifer, I guess you did, and you know that the labels you've seen have sugar as the first ingredient.
Well, actually, she did 2 pictures. One was the front, and one was the back, the nutrition
Yeah.
and ingredients. And the very first ingredient is cane sugar,
Yeah.
which, sugar.
Yeah. And that's the world we live in. Everything is marketed in a way to be successful. And sometimes healthy foods, healthy packaged foods that have green on the label, talk about how great they are. But they also want to be delicious and addicting. So the companies that put a lot of that stuff out do things that I think are evil. They trick us into thinking like if a cereal box says gluten-free on it, that means it's healthy. And the cereal has, 30% sugar in it or something. 40 or 50 or 60%, the combination of highly processed wheat product, or not wheat product, but highly processed carbohydrates and sugars, making it basically a torpedo for bad health, but claiming that it's healthy for you. So that's one thing that we all need to be mindful of and cognizant of when we're making those choices. And I know that I don't know if I've ever had a latte that didn't have sugar in it, and certainly a cappuccino that didn't have sugar in it. So you got to be really careful at Starbucks because you could hit 800 calories with one serving of something that they have over there. So thanks for sharing that, Trinity. I think that was useful to have that, that as an example, because it can put us all on guard, to watch what's coming our way and make sure we're understanding and looking at the labels. There's one lesson, I don't know where it is, but I'll have to look and see where it's coming, but it talks about the many, the ways that sugar are hidden by just changing the nomenclature. There's all kinds of different names that are used, and we have to get used to get used to those names so we know that if something is it doesn't show sugar in the ingredients, but it has other long chemical sounding names. Probably some of those are sugar, and they're just hidden away in different ways. So anyway, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll look for that lesson and I'll make sure you guys get a copy of it if it's not already in the system. So names, okay. All right. So anything else, Daniel? So you have unique experience in this group. Actually, you have unique experience amongst all of the people that have been through the program, all 30 some odd people. And that is that you went through it once before. You had some really, really good success. And then you kind of I won't say you fell off the wagon, but you went back to sort of normal life, and then all the way through the holidays, and now you're back in the program, which I think is great. But tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about your thoughts on that.
It definitely changed some of the habits, but some of the bad ones, like Coke, I went back to like after a week.
Okay, after the program was over, a week later, you were drinking Coke again. That's I'm glad you brought that up, because it's like that may be the worst thing you could do is drink those kinds of, because when you're slamming something that fast, you're going to get that insulin response, and the hyperinsulinemia is going to follow behind that, maybe not at your young age, but down the road sometime. And just, consuming that much of a highly processed sugary beverage is one of the things we really want to defeat the habit of. And I'm glad you're back, and I'm hoping that maybe we can defeat it for good this time. I had a similar habit with actually it was Coke Zero, but it's still just liquid stuff loaded with chemicals, not particularly good for you. And I was drinking one a day. It was kind of like my little treat every day. And then a certain other person in my household kept writing me about it over and over again, until I made it a habit to not want to do that anymore. And once you stop doing that, if you stop doing it for a long enough period of time, you really don't want it anymore. It's no longer appetizing. So I haven't had a Coke Zero in about 5 years, and I haven't even thought about it ever since, really, except when I bring it up in times like this. But anyway, stick with it. I'm glad you're back. We're gonna rehash the habits and maybe make them stick a little bit harder. We have had, honestly, we've had out of the 30 some odd people in the program, I would say that about a third of them, maybe, so let's call it 10 people, were extremely successful in the program in sort of a life-changing way. And not only did they reach their body fat goals and their general health, feeling of health goals, but they also got stronger and more capable, and were able to do great things in the gym and in every other aspect of life that represents. So they really don't want to give back their gains. They don't want to give any of it back, and they're willing to. Not only are they willing to make the sacrifices to keep that intact, but they also have really embraced the habits. So they don't even think of them as habits anymore. That's just what they do, and it's the lifestyle that they live. So you're well, Trinity, you're not too much older than him. Actually, you and Daniel are close to the same cohort, but you're just a couple years older. And Trinity's a little different because she has some functionality goals that she wants to reach. She wants to get in this program. She wants to get healthier for sure, but she also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you also want to get stronger and more capable over the course of the next several months. So Trinity is in between semesters at the Merchant Marines College, and she has performance objectives that she has to reach, physical performance objectives that she has to reach when she goes back, and that will be back in August or something like that.
It's the end of July.
End of July. So getting into the bod squad is going to set you up magnificently to arrive back there and be able to meet your goals, and people are going to not even recognize you. They're going to say, who is this new person? So, because you'll be that plus all the CrossFit work that you're doing, your capabilities will be noticeably different from where they are today, and they're even good today. So anyway, that's the benefit. I'd say a third of the people got that full benefit, and they still have that benefit today. Another third made some good progress, and have sort of settled back into a more standard lifestyle. Standard meaning they don't pay strict attention to balancing their macros for every single meal and every single snack. So they're hanging on. They're hanging on to their gains, and they're healthier, and they're sleeping better, and they have less inflammation. They understand the effects of certain foods on inflammation and on wellness, the feeling of wellness, and they can easily make those sacrifices to keep that good feeling. And then another third, the final third that had been through the program, what I noticed is that they, from the very beginning, weren't as invested as they needed to be to make it all happen, to really embrace the habits and to make them a fundamental part of their lives, to do the lessons and to learn about themselves and to learn about their values, and to be able to connect their values to their goals. That's actually the subject of a lesson that's going to come next week, and that is taking some time to think about yourself and to try to better define your identity, and then to see how your identity blends in or turns into your values, and then seeing how the values sort of evolve into your goals in life. And then it starts talking about ways to really break down your goals and understand them and make sure they are commensurate with your values and your identity. So all that comes together, and it makes the goal setting and the achievement of the goals much easier, because it's aligning everything, your internal thoughts and your external thoughts. It just aligns all of it and helps you to have better success there. There's also some templates and things, some tips and tricks and tools that are presented to you, some of which are next week, that help you to take that goal that's 6 months out, and then break it down to, okay, what needs to happen this quarter, what needs to happen this month, what needs to happen this week, and what am I going to do today to be that person that I want to be 6 months from now. There's one video I don't have off the top of my head. I don't have the name of it or the author, but it's a really good one that talks about the concept of getting reps in, if that makes sense. So if you want to be, let's pick an example. If you want to be an expert at playing chess, just to pick an example, you got to get your reps in. You got to you got to learn it. You got to train on it, and you got to get your reps in, and on a daily basis. If you do, or if you want to play the guitar or anything else in life, you got to get your reps in, so you'll be that person. Because if you get your reps in enough, you become that person, because you're the person that's playing the guitar, or you're the person that's playing chess. You may not be a champion or grandmaster, but you're the person that plays chess, and you get better at it. So building these habits, these nutrition habits, requires reps. And Trinity, the fact that you took that label and analyzed it, then asked us to analyze it and to help you with that decision, that was a good rep. And over the next 5.5 weeks, you need to get as many of those reps as you can get in, so that this thing becomes second nature to you. And Jennifer, same thing on the points and understanding, looking at a plate of food and being able to calculate with enough reasonable exactitude what you're looking at. That's all you need, and you get the reps doing that, you're going to get good at it. It's going to be easy to put together a full course meal for people, and understand what your macro balances are, and understand what your glycemic index position is, and all that stuff. It just comes natural. I think Tracy's a good example. She's not doing this stuff exactly, counting points and all, but her meals would pass every single test of the health, the nutritional balance, and everything else. I just ate one. It was spectacular. it was salmon and kale, which sounds kind of okay, salmon and kale, that's not a big deal. But she makes this white sauce that's just to die for. It has some mayo in it, so it's got some sugar in it, but it's got lemon juice and some other things, some garlic and seasonings. And then she puts a little bit of panko on the salmon. So you've got some starchy carbs, a little bit of sugar, a couple things here and there, but then the whole plate of food is mostly salmon and kale. And I'm talking about it right now because it was delicious. It was like if I went to a restaurant and I had that plate, I would want to go back to that restaurant whenever I could. It was that good. So that stuff, you get the reps in, it becomes second nature, and it becomes easy to make healthy and delicious meals, and to make the whole eating experience a great one. So anyway, I don't know when this comes, but you guys are going to get some talk about slowing down the process of eating. Jennifer, you got no choice. You got 15 minutes. You got to get it and be done with it. But whenever you do have a choice, we want you guys to slow down and enjoy the process. So the act of preparing and consuming the food needs to be a part of your day that you enjoy. And that's a possibility. It's not just something you get through to get something in your belly to move on to the next thing, or watch TV while you're eating. It becomes more of a not a ceremony, but an act of being alive, being human, and enjoying it. Okay, Trinity, you gave yourself for the week a rating of 9 out of 10. So tell us why it was so good, because that's really good.
So I don't know, it's just been really fulfilling, I guess, and I feel a lot happier, and like, I don't know, like actually making the food myself, because I normally cooked like a little bit throughout the day, but I never like made every single meal myself.
Right.
And
right.
it's been really fulfilling, and like the meal amount is like, people say like it's too much, but I feel like it's like the perfect amount for me. Like I don't feel like eating anything else after I do that, and I just have like a ton more energy, even though it's been like a few days. Because
Yeah.
by right now I'm usually like dead asleep. So, and I'm like fully awake, and it's just been really good. Like today, the rowing workout, normally it would have taken me like 15 to 16 minutes, but I finished it in 11 minutes and 11 seconds, which is
Wow.
also angel numbers, by the way. That's
Yeah.
angel numbers. And I thought that was nice. And the angel numbers mean like you're on the right path. So that just like made me feel good as well. So
Good.
yeah, it's just been nice.
Okay, that's fantastic. I feel totally charged up hearing that. Sounds like all three of y'all are doing great. So that's the end of the first week, or we're almost at the end of the first week. You got some great stuff coming your way. And please remember that the tools, the communication tools are pretty good. So you can always message me, and you can always message the community. And Kevin and Jeff and Luis are also still members of that community, so they can chime in if you've got a question or want some ideas on how to do something. Kevin especially is an expert around the barbecue pit, so that's something he can advise on for hours if you tap into that. But anyway, use the community, use the channels there. If you're rowing, make sure that you keep tabs on how much you're rowing, so you can get full credit for it at the end of the month, or at the end of the 6 weeks. And likewise, if you're running, even if it's just like the 400 meters we did yesterday, that needs to be tabulated as well, so you'll get credit for that. Okay, sound good? Okay, I will see hopefully most of y'all, or maybe all of y'all, tomorrow.
Oh wait, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the rowing and the running, do you just choose one or do you do both?
You can do both. You can actually get points for both. Most people
Okay.
choose one or the other, or they emphasize one over the other, but you can do both
Okay.
for sure. Okay, guys, see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.